Hey guys, welcome to our spooky Halloween episode. For this episode, we've got two mini spooky stories in one. These versions of the stories are condensed versions of the longer ones. So we'll mention the story, and of course, if you want to Google and read about the full stories of them, you're more than welcome to. But this is just for a fun little October mini episode. The first story we have is called The Bell Witch Legend. So, nestled along the banks of the Red River, Adams, Tennessee, may appear like any quiet rural town, with its population of just over 600. However, the town's dark legacy has made it a magnet for ghost hunters, historians, and curious visitors alike. The reason? Adams is home to one of the most notorious hauntings in American folklore, the Bell Witch. From 1817 to 1821, the Bell family was tormented by a malicious force that defied explanation. It all began when John Bell, the patriarch, encountered a strange dog like creature on its farmland. He fired his gun at it, but the animal vanished without a trace. Shortly after, sorry, the Bell household was plagued by terrifying disturbances, loud knocking, scratching noises, gnawing sounds, and the sound of heavy chains dragging across the floor. This invisible presence grew more aggressive, physically attacking the family, with John Bell and his daughter Betsy suffering the worst abuse. The witch's activities became physical. It began striking, pinching, and pulling the hair of some of the family members. The entity, now referred to as the Bell Witch, exhibited eerie abilities. It could speak, shapeshift, and appear in multiple locations simultaneously. It also taunted the family, hurling insults at John and warnings of misfortune. When asked what it was, the witch replied cryptically, "I am a spirit. I once was happy, but have been disturbed."
Creepy.
That's so creepy to hear.
Creepy.
The family's enslaved man, Dean, also reported terrifying encounters with the witch, often seeing it take the form of a two-headed dog.
This reminded me of like the three-headed dog from Harry Potter, and I don't know why, but like if you've
I
ever seen
don't
Harry
know.
Potter, you'll
Yeah,
know. I can't believe you've never seen Harry Potter.
I'm
Ugh,
sorry. I there's no actual real reason to it. I just
no.
haven't. In fear of his life, he carried a protective witch ball, crafted by his wife. Even friends of the Bell family weren't spared. William Porter once tried to throw the invisible entity into a fire, but failed, overwhelmed by its unbearable stench and weight. So
So
she
like
was,
you physically lifted this thing or tried to anyways?
yeah, which is like
That's
wild to me that you were even able to come close to touch it.
touching it. Yeah.
Wild. Like,
Weird.
that's wild.
Spooky.
Yeah, right? Like, so after years of torment, John Bell's health deteriorated. In December 1820, he passed away, with some believing the Bell Witch had poisoned him. At his funeral, the witch was said to have gleefully interrupted the proceedings, singing cheerful drinking songs. Strangely, after his death, the hauntings diminished and eventually stopped just as mysteriously as they began.
She said, I hate this man.
She was like, "I'm coming for you. I'm attacking you."
She
Like,
said,
you.
You suck.
Yeah.
I don't
You're
like
the
you,
one.
John. I don't like you, John.
Yeah. So to this day, the legend of the Bell Witch endures, inspiring countless books, films, and paranormal investigations. While skeptics view the tale as folklore, believers maintain the supernatural energy still lingers in Adams. Visitors flock to the site, hoping to catch a glimpse of the paranormal force that terrorized the Bell family over 2 centuries ago. Whether myth or reality, the story of the Bell Witch leaves an unsettling reminder: some spirits, once disturbed, refuse to rest.
I also did read when I did look up this story that Adams used to be called Red River.
Yeah,
So I don't know if we mentioned that earlier, but Yeah,
I didn't, but yeah, it was originally called Red River. So it's yeah, but if you guys like pretty much all the details were into that story, but if you want to look it up and look more into the
into the, like
folklore,
the nitty gritty details, you absolutely
feel
can.
free. It's a spooky one.
And same with our next story, which is the Great Amherst Mystery Story. Um, so, in the Great Amherst Mystery, which took place in 1888, Walter Hubble documented the bizarre events he witnessed while staying with the Teed family in Amherst, Nova Scotia, Canada, obviously, during the summer of 1879. Hubble, an actor familiar with stage illusions, initially intended to debunk the paranormal occurrences, but left believing they were genuine. The disturbances began in August 1878, shortly after 19-year-old Esther Cox experienced a traumatic encounter with a local man named Bob McNeil, who was rumored to skin cats alive and watch them run in pain for amusement.
You're sick.
We both have cats. We That's not cool.
Yeah,
No.
I
My cat is
love
my child.
my cat. I birthed my cat. Like I don't
I
care.
carried her to term. Like that
That's my
was
son. That is
mm-mm.
sick.
That's yeah.
That's all I have to say.
The two went out for a drive when Bob suddenly pulled the buggy over in a remote area and pointed a revolver at Esther, demanding for her to get out of the buggy. Esther refused, which caused Bob, to get aggressive. Although she escaped unharmed due to the sounds of another wagon approaching, strange events soon plagued the Teed home, where Esther lived with her sister Olive, Olive's husband Daniel, as well as their two sons, Willie and George, Esther's sister Jenny, and brother John, and then Daniel's brother John. A lot of people.
People like damn, you're reading that and I was like, oh
It
my
just keeps
god,
going. And
literally.
it was a small home. Like, it was not a big home. If you look up the picture of the house, which I'm sure we will end up posting, but it wasn't a very big house. It's an illustration of the house, obviously, because it's in the 1800s.
Yeah.
Um, Esther exhibited terrifying symptoms during these episodes, including extreme swelling, fevers, and hallucinations. Medical attempts to treat her were unsuccessful, with one doctor claiming that sedatives and morphine had no effect because of the supernatural interference. As the paranormal activity escalated, culminating in fires and attacks, Esther was forced to move between homes. However, the phenomena followed her wherever she went, even injuring her in front of witnesses.
That's crazy.
Right? In one public incident, a knife reportedly flew through the air and stabbed Esther twice. This event, witnessed by many, suggested that the ghost wanted to maintain its torment even outside the Teed residence. In December 1878, Esther briefly contracted diphtheria, which is a serious bacterial infection that affects the mucous membranes and like of the nose, throat, and sometimes the skin.
That's wild.
And during this, the haunting ceased, only to return once she recovered.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Eventually, Esther was implicated in a suspicious barn fire, arrested for arson, and sentenced to 4 months in jail. 4 months for arson. I mean, back then, I don't know what sentencing was like back then, but could you imagine getting 4 months for arson now?
Yeah, that's not even possible now.
No. And she only served 1 month, and then she was released. So,
Yeah, that's just wild. That's wild.
by 1882, she married, had a son, and reported no further hauntings. Though skeptical of fraudulent spiritual mediums, Hubble concluded that the events he witnessed were genuine manifestations of restless spirits, affirming his belief in ghosts. However, the true case of the Amherst mystery remains unexplained. The case continues to intrigue paranormal investigators, standing as one of the most well documented and puzzling poltergeist accounts in history. So I also just want to mention at the end of this now, the Great Amherst Mystery in 1888 that I mentioned earlier is actually like the case surrounding it. So if you would like to go back and read that, I'm going to correct
Yeah.
myself. It wasn't 1888. That yeah, whatever. But
Yeah.
just
That was
ignore what I said.
that was a freaky case.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot more detail. Like that was a very brief explanation of what happened. But there's, if you want to get into the nitty gritty of this case as well, there is actually a lot more information and like what happened during the hauntings. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was kind of just like a summary of everything.
Yeah, so like with both of our stories, like we said, they're a summary, but we wanted to give you guys like a little fun little
Yeah,
spook Halloween episode. Both of them are very weird. Both of them have their own twist on paranormal stuff, and I think they're both very weird, especially yours.
yeah.
Yours is
Well, we share the
creepy.
same last name, ironically, which is why I chose this
Yeah.
case. So maybe she's a distant relative. I don't know. I doubt it because my dad's
Oh
really
my
weird.
god, but just imagine.
Yeah.
Just imagine like
Oh God.
that'd be creepy, man. That would be creepy.
Right? Insane. Insane.
Yeah.
But, anyways, thank you for listening. Don't forget that you can submit your spooky stories on Ghoul Talk in the link in the episode description and leave us a review. It will be greatly appreciated. And remember to keep it spooky, and we will see you next time.